Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, men and women, dreamers and doubters alike, there is a spark inside of you, a whisper in the dark, a flame waiting to rise. And that spark, my friends, that's your dream. Now I ask you, what are you doing with it? Are you hiding it in the weight of fear? Are you letting the winds of doubt blow it out? Or are you ready to fuel your dreams and let them burn with holy fire? Listen to me, dreams are not accidents. They are not random wishes tossed into the night sky like pennies into a fountain. They are divine seeds planted in the soil of your soul. You didn't make them. You didn't choose them. They were placed there. And because they were placed there, you must rise to carry them forward. But hear me now. A dream without fuel is just a fantasy. You can wish, you can hope, you can talk, but until you fuel it with faith, focus, and fire, it goes nowhere. What is that fuel? It's faith when you see no progress. It's courage when the night is long. It's discipline when the body is tired. It's grace when the strength runs out. Oh, I know it's hard. I know the dream gets heavy. I know people don't understand it. But listen, the world didn't give you your dream, so don't expect it to applaud when you chase it. They will laugh. They will doubt. They will walk away. Because if you fuel your dream, if you keep feeding that fire with truth, with love, with perseverance, no wall can stand against it. No fear can bury it. No failure can kill it. Young man, keep dreaming. Young woman, keep building. Parent, teacher, or artist, servant, don't you dare quit and just servant. There is someone out there watching you, someone whose dream is flickering, whose hope is dying, and your flame may be the one that reignites theirs. Don't waste the gift. Don't bury the calling. Don't ignore the whisper. Fuel your dream. Let it rise. Let it roar. Let it set the world on fire. And when the journey is hard, when your tank is empty, when the road is long, remember who gave you the dream in the first place. He didn't bring you this far to leave you. He will fuel what he started if you let so ride. So run. Fuel your dreams and watch the impossible fall before you. Dreams are divine whispers placed in your heart, breathed not by chance or coincidence, but by a hand unseen, a voice unheard, stirring deep within you in the quiet hours when the world is still and your soul is awake. They come like morning mist on the waters, soft and gentle, yet full of mystery and promise, asking not for understanding, but for trust. Not for answers, but for a willingness to follow where they lead. These dreams are not the echoes of your environment or the loud suggestions of a crowded world, but sacred callings etched into the lining of your being, pulling you not outward toward applause, but inward toward purpose. They don't scream or shout or demand attention, but they whisper. How they whisper tenderly and constantly in every moment of silence, reminding you that you were made for more, made for something that can't be measured in accolades or applause. And though the winds of doubt may howl and the weight of waiting may press, the dream remains, flickering but unquenched, calling you through the fog of fear and the blur of the ordinary, beckoning you towards something higher. It is not ambition dressed in gold nor ego painted in bright colors, but it is fire dressed in patience and clothed in humility, a fire that will not go out, even when time has passed, even when you try to silence it, even when you try to walk away. Because the dream was placed there by a hand greater than yours, and it is sustained not by your effort alone, but by divine design, a heavenly fingerprint on the fragile paper of your heart that will not fade, no matter how many times you fold it up and tuck it away. So when the road is long and the silence deafens and the dream feels distant, remember it was never just an idea. It was a whisper from eternity placed in you not to tease you, not to torment you, but to call you home to the reason you were born to begin with, without full. Even the brightest dream remains a flicker, dancing delicately on the edge of existence, full of light yet starved of strength, waiting for something more than intention, something deeper than desire, something stronger than mere wish. You can carry the grandest vision in your heart and see it play behind your eyelids every night, but unless you feed it with courage and consistency, with the grit to keep going and the grace to stand still, it will fade like embers left alone in the cold. The fire of a dream was never meant to survive on dreams alone, for even passion grows weary without discipline. Even hope begins to waver without effort, and even vision loses clarity when it is not sustained by the work of your hands and the strength of your spirit. Many walk through life with dreams buried just beneath the surface, glowing faintly beneath layers of fear, distraction, and delay. Because though the dream itself was bright, it lacked the oxygen of faith, the wood of persistence, spark of bold obedience. You must fuel your dream not just with desire, but with action, day by day, decision by decision, moment by moment, Because the flame does not grow stronger by wishing it so, but by feeding it with everything you are and everything you refuse to give up on. Every time you speak life to it, every time you choose belief over doubt, every time you take one more step even when the path is unclear, you are given that flicker a chance to become a fire that the winds of life cannot extinguish. And though the dream may seem small now, though it may tremble in the shadow of your fears and doubts, it is still alive, and it will burn, and it will rise, and it will become all it was meant to be, but only if you give it the fuel it's crying out for. Because no matter how brilliant, no matter how beautiful, no matter how distant your dream may be, it will never become more than a flicker in the dark until you choose to tend the flame with faith, with fire, with fear. Unfailing resolve that refuses to let it die. Faith is the first spark that ignites destiny, not born from certainty or comfort, but from the quiet decision to believe when there is nothing yet to see, to trust when the map is blank and the road ahead is wrapped in shadows and silence. It is the unseen hand that strikes the match inside your soul, the holy friction between doubt and hope that causes something eternal to catch fire, something ancient and divine to wake up within you and say, now it begins. Without faith, the journey never starts, the dream never breathes, the door never opens, because destiny does not respond to fear or convenience or logic, but to that trembling, stubborn, unexplainable belief that says, even if I fall, I must move. Faith is what separates the ones who watch from the ones who walk, the ones who talk from the ones who build, because while talent may be given and opportunity may knock, it is only faith that dares to answer with hands ready and a heart set on fire. And though the flame may start small, just a flicker in the dark, just a whisper in the storm, it grows with every yes, with every step, with every risk taken, not because the outcome is guaranteed, but because the calling is undeniable. Faith does not ask for permission, and it does not wait for applause, for it is fueled by something far greater than praise. It is fueled by vision, by purpose, by a fire that burns from the inside out and refuses to be quenched. You don't need all the answers to begin. You don't need the full picture or perfect timing. You only need that one spark, that one flame, that one moment of a yes whispered into the chaos, because that spark will light a path no eye has seen and no foot has touched. So if you feel the stir, if you hear the call, if your spirit begins to tremble with something too big to name, then let faith rise. Let it burn, because that first spark is not small, it is not random. It is the beginning of everything your destiny was waiting for. Vision without discipline is just illusion. A beautiful dream trapped behind the glass of intention, full of colors and promise, but untouched by reality. Because without the grind, without the daily choice to move when it's hard, it remains nothing more than a shadow of what could have been. You can see the future with perfect clarity. You can feel the calling with every heartbeat. But if you won't rise early, if you won't say no to what distracts, if you won't endure the silence between the seed and the harvest, then that vision becomes a fantasy slowly fading in the distance. Discipline is the engine room of vision, the sacred rhythm that keeps the dream alive long after the excitement fades, long after others have quit, long after the applause stops, and the only sound left is your breath and your resolve and your whisper saying, keep going. Without discipline, the vision deceives you. It flatters you with potential but denies you progress. It fills your head but never touches your hands. It speaks of mountains but keeps your feet locked in place while time passes and purpose waits. You can post it, preach it, write it down in bold letters on your wall, but unless you are willing to show up when no one is watching, unless you are willing to labor in the hidden hours when the thrill is gone, that vision will remain a monument to your intentions rather than a testimony of your transformation. Real vision costs you, it breaks you, it reshapes your habits, your focus, your time. Because what you see in the spirit will only live in the world if your flesh is willing to bow to the process that brings it forward. You don't drift into destiny and you don't stumble into greatness. You choose it. You fight for it. You discipline yourself for it. Because every dream worth living demands a version of you that discipline alone can build. So if your vision is real, if it truly burns in your bones and won't let you go, then match it with the kind of discipline that doesn't depend on mood or motivation. Because only then will the illusion fall away and the vision become flesh, become fact. The world didn't give you the dream, so don't expect it to understand, because what was planted in you was whispered in secret, breathed into your bones by something eternal, not approved by committees or confirmed by crowds, but placed within by a voice that speaks beyond the noise. Don't look for validation from those who weren't there when the dream was born. Don't seek applause from the ones who never heard the call you did, because when heaven speaks, earth often scoffs, and the narrow road will never make sense to those who are comfortable walking wide. You were not designed to be explained, you were called to be obeyed. And when the fire inside you starts to rise, people will question it, mock it, shrink from it, not because it's wrong, but because it reminds them of everything they've stopped believing for themselves. You will confuse them, you will bother them, you will make them uncomfortable, not by being loud, not by being arrogant, but simply by being faithful to a dream they can't see, a burden they don't carry, and a future they were never meant to understand. But don't waste your time translating divine language for earthly minds. Don't dilute your vision to make it digestible. Don't hold back your fire just to keep others warm with your silence, because your dream was never meant to fit inside their fear. The dream will cost you relationships, comfort, applause, maybe even your reputation, but it will give you back your soul. It will give you back your focus, and it will connect you with the few who were cut from the same cloth, marked by the same fire, moved by the same unseen hand. And when the questions come, when the critics rise, when the voices tell you to settle down and shrink back, remember that you don't owe them clarity. You don't owe them a blueprint. You only owe obedience to the one who dared to dream through you. So stand tall, walk forward, and don't flinch when they stare, because the dream inside you wasn't given by this world, and it doesn't need this world's permission to come alive. It only needs your faith, your fire, and your refusal to let it go. You don't need everyone to believe in you. Just enough fuel to keep going, because the size of your dream was never meant to fit the size of their understanding, and what they can't see in you has nothing to do with what's already burning inside of you. If you wait for everyone's approval, if you depend on their applause, you'll be chained to their comfort, stuck in their limitations, and you'll trade the fire of your calling for the flicker of their permission, slowly silencing your own voice just to keep their peace. The truth is, not everyone is meant to believe in you. And that's not your burden to carry, because what fuels destiny is not the crowd's cheers, but your creator's whisper, not their validation, but your inner conviction that won't let you quit. You may walk alone, you may build in silence, you may press on when no one claps and no one watches, but if you've got just a little hope, just a flicker of faith, just a drop of courage left in the tank, then you've got enough to keep moving forward. The crowd is loud but unstable. The world is watching but distracted, and their belief in you will rise and fall like the tide. But your fire must be constant. Your heart must be steady. Your steps must continue even when the only sound is your breath in the dark. You don't need 10,000 to say yes. You need one reason not to say no. One reason to stand again when you've fallen. One voice inside that says a go, even when everything outside says a stop. Let their silence train you. Let their doubt refine you. But never let it define you, because your dream isn't powered by their faith in you. It's powered by your refusal to back down, your discipline in the dry seasons, your ability to keep showing up when quitting would be easier. So take the little you have, the tired hope, the cracked voice, the trembling step, and use it like oil on the fire, because you don't need everyone to believe. You only need enough belief to keep burning. Keep building, keep becoming feds and not tombstones. They are stepping stones, not signs of death, but markers of movement, not the end of the road, but the ground beneath your next step, laid down by the lessons that only loss and falling can teach. You were never meant to be buried by your failure. You were meant to rise through it, to stand on it, to use it as a platform for greater clarity, deeper strength, and the kind of wisdom that only brokenness can. The world may call it defeat. They may write you off. They may shake their heads and walk away. What they don't see is that the fall was not the end. It was the shaping, the stripping, the holy preparation for what comes. Every failure holds a gift wrapped in pain, a truth hidden beneath disappointment, a doorway disguised as disaster, that you must be willing to look again, to reach down with grace and lift from the wreckage the stone that will carry you forward. You may have stumbled, you may have wept, you may have lost things you thought you couldn't live without, but if your heart is still beating and your spirit still stirs, then your failure is not a gravestone. It's a foundation. The most powerful people you'll ever meet are not the ones who never fell, but the ones who fell hard and got up slow with scars that shine like gold and eyes that steadies your next step. You are not done, you are not disqualified, and you are not beneath grace. Your failure is not a grave. It is a gate, not your ending, but the stone you step on as you rise again and move toward everything you were born to. Walk into your past can't chain you if your purpose is burning within. Because no mistake, no failure, no wound has the authority to cancel what heaven has declared over your life unless you give it permission to speak louder than the fire in your soul. You may have walked through shame. You may carry memories like shadows. But when purpose starts to burn, when calling begins to roar, even the chains of yesterday start to melt in the presence of a future too strong to be denied. The past may try to haunt you. It may echo in your quiet moments and rise up in your weakest hours. But it cannot hold you if your spirit stays lit. Your why burns hotter than your regret. If voice of destiny keeps calling louder than the voice of condemnation. You are not what you've done. You are not what they said. You are not the worst day you've ever lived. You are the one still standing, still breathing, still burning with something greater than guilt and stronger than shame. Purpose rewrites the story. Purpose breaks the locks. Purpose walks through the doors that the past tried to seal shut. Because when something eternal is stirring inside of you, no earthly label can define you and no old mistake can destroy you. Let the fire speak louder than your failure. Let the mission speak louder than the mess. Let the vision blaze so bright that it burns through every chain the enemy ever forged from your history. You don't need to be perfect to walk in power. You don't need to be spotless to move in purpose. You only need to be willing to rise, to believe, to say, this fire in me matters more than the ashes behind me. Because once purpose begins to blaze, the past loses its grip, the shame loses its voice, and what once held you down becomes fuel for the fire that will carry you straight into everything you were born for, and nothing less small beginnings often ignite mighty fires. Not with fanfare or flashing lights, but in the quiet corners where the world isn't watching, where faith is raw, hands are trembling, and the only fuel you have is a vision too stubborn to die. Don't despise the days of little. Don't look down on what feels insignificant. Heaven has a history of using the overlooked, the underestimated, the barely seen to spark movements that shake the ground and set generations ablaze. What starts as a whisper, what begins with a single step, a single prayer, a single act of courage, can become a wildfire of purpose that consumes everything in its path, not because it looked powerful at first, but because it refused to stay. The seed doesn't look like the forest, the spark doesn't look like the blaze, but if you water it with faith and fan it with discipline, that small beginning will rise, it will stretch, it will catch fire and change the atmosphere around you. Every mighty flame you've ever seen started with one match, one moment, one breath of yes in the middle of doubt, and that's all you need. Not a full plan, not a crowd, just the courage to begin even when your hands are empty and your heart is full. It's not about how you started, it's about who started in you, about what you carry in silence, what you build in obscurity, and what you believe in the dark when no one is cheering, and the only voice you hear is the one calling you deeper. Small doesn't mean weak, and quiet doesn't mean forgotten, because when purpose touches obedience, even your smallest step becomes holy ground, and even your hidden faith becomes a spark that can light up the world. So take that first step, write that first line, build with what you have, because mighty fires don't ask for permission to begin. They start small, they burn low, and then they rise with glory no one can ignore. Doubt drains, but hope fuels, and while fear may seek to steal your strength, to wither your resolve, it is hope that revives your spirit, that lifts your head, and reminds you that every challenge is a seed for growth. Every setback is a stepping stone for something greater. When doubt whispers that you're not enough, that it's too late, that the odds are against you, it seeks only to weaken your heart and cloud your vision. But when hope rises, it wipes away the fog and lights the path with a promise that your purpose is still ahead of you, still worth fighting for. Doubt consumes energy. It pulls you inward, makes you second guess every step, every decision. But hope, oh, hope moves you forward. It pushes you to stand taller, to dream bigger, to take that extra step even when the journey feels uncertain. Because hope knows that the end is already written. In the face of uncertainty, doubt pulls you down into the depths of despair, but hope takes your hand and leads you through, reminding you that the very thing you fear is the very thing that is shaping you, strengthening you, preparing you for what's coming next. The weight of doubt is heavy, it suffocates, it suffuses every thought with hesitation. But the lightness of hope frees your soul. It strengthens your resolve and opens your eyes to possibilities you couldn't see before, because hope dares you to believe that all things are possible. So when doubt tries to tell you it's over, when it fills your mind with reasons to stop, remember that hope never fails. Hope never runs dry. And while doubt can steal your energy, hope can replenish your soul and fill you with the strength to keep going, to keep going, to keep pushing forward. Hope fuels not just the dream, but the dreamer. It empowers the heart to keep fighting when everything feels like it's falling apart. It whispers to keep going, even when the world says to give up, because hope knows that the best chapters are still ahead, still waiting to be written. And in the end, it is hope that carries you. It is hope that sustains you. It is hope that gives you the courage to stand, to rise, and to believe, because while doubt drains, hope fills you with the fire to become everything you were born to be. What you feed grows. What you starve dies, and so your attention, your time, your energy are the soil in which your dreams, your passions, and your fears take root. For whatever you choose to nourish will rise up and expand, while whatever you neglect will fade away into the shadows of forgotten intentions. You can feed your mind with the thoughts of possibility, with visions of success, with words of affirmation and truth. And in doing so, you will cultivate a mindset that moves you forward, that strengthens your belief, that lifts you to heights you never thought you could reach. Because what you feed grows. Yet if you choose to feed your fears, to nourish the doubt and anxiety that whisper in the quiet of your heart, to dwell on the negativity that seeks to hold you back, then those things will grow larger, louder, more dominant. And soon they will overshadow the dreams you once carried with hope. What you feed grows, yes, but it's not always what you intend, for the world will try to pull your attention in 1,000 directions to distract you with the temporary, the trivial, and the toxic, but it is your choice to decide where you pour your energy, where you plant your focus, and what you allow to take root. Your purpose. Feed your courage, feed your faith with every action, every word, every step you take, and watch as the seeds of greatness grow stronger with each passing day. For when you align your heart and your hands with what you're meant to become, nothing can stop the growth of your destiny. On the other hand, starve the doubt, starve the excuses, starve the comfort that calls you to stay where you are. For the things that are fed with your attention become the giants you must face, while the things you neglect lose their power to hold you back and begin to wither. What you starve dies, not because it lacks potential, but because it lacks your commitment, your belief, your action. And the moment you stop giving energy to the negativity, the fear, the regret, and the shame, you begin to reclaim the space for your dreams to breathe, for your vision to take flight. So choose wisely where you invest your time, your thoughts, your heart. Feed your faith, feed your dreams, feed your purpose, because whatever you choose to nourish will become the reality you live. And what you starve will fade away until it no longer holds power over you or the life you are meant to create. Every no is a chance to refine your yes. For in every rejection, every setback, every closed door, there lies the opportunity to sharpen your focus, to recalibrate your vision, and to decide once again with clarity and conviction that the path you're on is still worth walking. Every no is not a failure. It is a lesson, a turning point, a chance to redefine what you truly want. Because with every door that closes, you are forced to reconsider, to dig deeper into your purpose, and to ask yourself, is this truly what I want? Or is there something better, something truer waiting for me? What the world calls a no, heaven calls a preparation. It is not the end of the road. It is the forging of your resolve, the strengthening of your character, and the refining of your yes into something more powerful, more unwavering, more aligned with the destiny you are meant to fulfill. When the world says no, your spirit has the chance to ask, am I ready to give my yes with more conviction, more fire, more understanding? For every closed door is an invitation to pause and reflect on the power of what you are saying yes to and whether it aligns with the vision you hold within. Every no brings you closer to your yes because it forces you to choose again, to be clear, to remove what no longer serves your purpose, and to give everything within you to the path that truly calls your name, where every step forward is rooted in intentionality and passion. If we are not careful, no can sting. It can wound our pride, our belief, but if we learn to see it differently, we recognize that it's not a rejection of who we are, but a redirection to something greater, something more refined, something that will require absolute and wavering yes. The more you're faced with no, the more you are called to refine your yes, to make it more deliberate, more powerful, more focused, because when you say yes to what matters most, when you give your energy to the things that truly fuel your soul, you're saying yes to your purpose, your calling, and the life you were meant to create. So let the no strengthen you, let them redirect you, let them purify your yes. Because the deeper you go in your yes, the more intentional your actions, the more certain your journey, and every no becomes a tool in the hands of destiny, shaping you into the person you need to become to live the life you were born for. Keep going. Your fire is someone else's warmth, because the struggle you endure, the faith you hold, the light you carry through the darkest hours doesn't just ignite your own soul, but becomes a beacon for those around you, lighting their way when their own flame is flickering low. The path may be steep, the road may be long, and the nights may feel cold, but even in the moments when you want to stop, when the weight of the world feels too heavy, remember that the fire you're kindling within you has the power to warm others, to inspire them to keep moving, to remind them that they too can rise. Every step you take, no matter how small, no matter how unseen, sends ripples out into the world, and what seems like a solitary journey to you may be the very thing that encourages someone else to keep going, to hold on, to believe that their own fire will eventually burn brighter. Your perseverance in the face of opposition is not just for your own breakthrough. It is a gift to those who will find strength in your story, to those who will see the sparks of hope in your courage, and to those whose flames are reignited by the warmth of your determination to rise above. In the moments when doubt tries to steal your flame, when exhaustion tells you to quit, when everything seems against you, remember that your persistence in the struggle, your refusal to surrender, is the very thing that will give others the strength to continue to press on, to walk through their own darkness. You may not always see the impact you're making. You may never know how your quiet resilience fuels others in their battles, but know this. The fire you keep burning within yourself, the way you push through, the way you stand tall, even when you feel small, is a light for someone else to follow. Keep going, because in your journey, you are not just building your own legacy. You are setting the stage for others to discover their own strength, their own purpose, their own power to rise. And in doing so, your fire becomes a force that never stops giving away. And when the world feels dark, and when you feel like your fire is nothing but a flicker, remember that your light is exactly what someone else needs. So don't let it go out. Keep going, keep shining, and know that every step forward, every choice to stay burning, is a source of warmth for the souls who need it the most. When your strength is gone, grace becomes the fuel. For in the moments when you feel emptied, when your spirit has been worn thin and your body feels like it cannot carry another step, grace steps in as the unseen hand that lifts you, replenishing what was once lost with a strength that is not your own. It's in the quiet hours when the weight of the world seems unbearable, when every effort feels like it's in vain, that grace gently whispers, reminding you that you're not alone, that you don't have to do it all on your own. And in that moment of surrender, grace fills your cup and keeps you moving forward. Grace is the wind beneath your wings when the storms of life threaten to drag you under, the calm in your heart when chaos swirls around you. And when you find yourself without the energy to keep going, grace is the breath that enters your lungs and the strength that renews your resolve. It's not through your own striving that you find the strength to endure, but through the quiet surrender to grace, that an unearned, unmerited favor that fills in the gaps when your resources are exhausted and carries you beyond the limits of your own understanding, turning your weakness into victory. Grace doesn't ask for perfection. It doesn't demand you have it all together. It simply flows freely, abundantly when you're at your lowest, lifting you from the ashes and giving you the fuel to rise again, not because you earned it, but because you were willing to receive it. When your strength is gone, grace doesn't just get you through. It transforms the journey, turning moments of despair into opportunities for divine intervention, turning weariness into renewed purpose, and making the impossible seem not only possible, but inevitable. And so when you find yourself on the brink, when every ounce of energy has been spent, when your legs are shaking and your heart is heavy, remember that grace is not just a gift. It is the fuel that empowers you to keep going, to keep believing, to keep moving with a power that does not originate from you, but from something far greater. So when you feel like you can't go another step, when your strength has run dry, look within and you'll find that grace is already there, waiting to lift you up, to fuel you, to cure you further than you thought possible. Grace is the fire that keeps you alive. God doesn't call the qualified. He fuels the called, for it is not your ability that will carry you, but his strength, his grace, and his unshakable purpose that rises within you, empowering you to do what you thought impossible and to walk paths you never imagined you could tread. When he calls you, it's not because you've earned it, not because you are the most gifted or the most prepared, but because he sees something in you that you can't yet see in yourself. And it is through his calling that he provides the fuel you need to overcome every obstacle and fulfill the destiny he has set before. The world may look at your weaknesses, your failures, your inabilities, and tell you you're not enough, but God doesn't look at the surface. He looks at the heart and he knows that with his strength, with his provision, you are more than enough to accomplish everything he has placed in your hand. He does not wait for you to be fully equipped, fully capable, or fully ready. He calls you in your brokenness, in your vulnerability, in your uncertainty. And then he supplies the grace, the wisdom, and the courage to walk the path, knowing that your reliance on him is what qualifies you. God's call is never about your own qualifications. It is about your willingness to step forward, to trust, to say a yes to the unknown. And in that moment, he begins to fuel you with a power that doesn't come from your own strength, but from his divine presence that sustains you every step of the way. When God calls you, he doesn't just send you out into the world and hope you succeed. He equips you with everything you need, with an unbreakable spirit, with faith that defies reason, and with a determination that is fueled by his unending love and purpose for your life, driving you forward even when you feel like giving up. So when the doubts come, when the road ahead seems too steep, when you feel like you don't have what it takes, remember that God does not call the qualified. He calls the willing, and in your willingness, he will fuel you, empower you, and provide everything you need to fulfill his calling in your life. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to have all the answers, because when God calls, he fuels, and in the strength of his calling, you will find that you are more capable, more resilient, and more equipped than you ever thought possible. And through his fuel, you will become everything he created you to be.